Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health Radio and TV. I'm your host, Sara Banta. I'm a health coach, natural supplement expert, and a busy mom of three. Today, my guest is going to be talking about my favorite topic, proteins, and how some proteins can make you fat and how some can actually build lean bulk. Protein is the building block for physical and mental health, whether it's overcoming anxiety and depression, losing weight, or detoxing your body in the proper way, and even increasing your level of frequency in life. You need that strong physical foundation of health in order to gain the willpower to make the bigger changes in your life. If you're new to following me, I specialize in helping you get there. You can find my health articles, my cutting edge natural supplements, devices, and protocols at sarabantahealth.com. My company is the sponsor of the show, so as you support my website, I'm able to bring you more cutting edge content and guests to the show. So like I mentioned, we're going to be diving into the importance of the right proteins and amino acids for muscles, brain, and longevity. But first, I want to talk about some tools you can use to maximize the results you're after, making it easier to reverse hormonal decline, improve energy, and reverse aging. The goal is to improve mitochondrial health and increase energy at the cellular level. First is the accelerated keto. This supplement is not just any keto supplement. It flips you into fat burning mode within 30 minutes and your body taps into its own fat stores so that you get that energy right away and you feel great. So right then you're going, okay, I can do it. I can run the marathon. I can go do my work. I can go write a book. Whatever it is on your to-do list, you have the physical and mental energy to do so. It increases ATP production by at least 10 times, but there's also other ingredients in the accelerated keto, unlike any other keto supplement, that help break down the saturated fats into unsaturated fats. And these are easier for your body to utilize and burn and convert into ketones. It also increases that autophagy, and autophagy is that cleanup mechanism for your body. And because of this property, the accelerated keto is actually helping to defat your liver. And if you know me, you know I love my liver, and it is necessary to be cleansing your liver daily, gently, but doing a full liver flush, which I take you through 3 to 4 times a year. But the liver is also where the thyroid hormone converts T4 to T3. And as the liver is functioning better, the thyroid's going to work better, increasing metabolism, mitochondrial function, and energy. Accelerated keto also has HMB, which prevents muscle wasting. And as we're going to talk about today, you need that protein to build the muscles, but you don't want to cut down and have those muscles break down while you're working out. So that HMB helps prevent the muscle wasting while you're fasting. And then you've got the accelerated iodine. Iodine is necessary in all tissues, all 100 trillion cells in the body, right? Not just the thyroid, but it also helps increase ATP by 18 times. And that's your true cellular energy needed for the brain, physical performance, wound healing, fat burning, and healthy apoptosis, which is the destruction of disease cells. Most everyone has suboptimal thyroid from the last 2 years and the spike protein. Acceleradine has been shown to help reverse that damage done to the DNA by the mRNA and the spike protein. And also with ATP increasing, energy and fat oxidation increase. So it's also helping with your metabolism, your hormones, helps reverse estrogen dominance, increase that testosterone. And Acceleradyne is the only monoatomic iodine that feeds the cells directly without having to be broken down like others. Most other iodine supplements have only 10 to 20% absorption and have toxic or radioactive iodine in there. So no other iodine incorporates the healing scalar frequencies that we do, where that scalar frequency is detoxing the cell from the radiation and from the heavy metals. Coming soon, accelerated thyroid. I cannot wait. It is a combination of ancient herbal wisdom with advanced glandular therapy, and it is formulated to support the entire endocrine system holistically. Also, Cognoblast, two phenomenal supplements, accelerated thyroid and Cognoblast, are going to be game changers. Cognoblast is a cutting edge natural brain enhancement product, a nootropic that increases mental focus, energy, and memory, helps with that increased ATP production, enhanced memory, and not just memory and learning, but learning speed. And it also helps with lifespan, increasing lifespan, decreasing anxiety, improving motivation, prevents Alzheimer's and dementia. It neutralizes those damaging free radicals, decreases inflammation, supports liver, lungs, kidneys, and other organs. So many things packed in this one supplement. I give more tips and tools through my free group coaching. You can join with the link below on Telegram or email me through my website, SaraBantaHealth.com. And the difference between me and any other group coaching is I provide the most cutting edge frequency enhanced supplements that work synergistically with each other so your body doesn't experience those flu-like symptoms. You truly do feel great day one. Leave a comment below if you're interested or check it out on the website, SaraBantaHealth.com. Now to the good stuff. Dr. David Minkoff founded BodyHealth in 2000, a nutrition company that now manufactures and distributes products with cutting-edge solutions for the many health problems of today. I love his products, and he is a genius. Welcome, David. How are you today?
Thank you, Sarah. I am great. Good to be with you.
I barely gave you an introduction because I want you to go into how you came across the importance of these supplements and your journey and the avid athletics that you do. I mean, you blow people away in their 20s with your athletics. So if you could tell us a little bit more about your journey, that would be great.
Okay. So I did traditional college and medical school. I went to the University of Wisconsin. I then went to UC San Diego for my internship and residency. I graduated in pediatrics. I then was a chief resident there for a year and then did a 2-year fellowship in infectious disease. We did both adult and pediatric infectious disease as part of that fellowship. And then I joined a practice in Escondido, California. And I was doing hospital infectious disease. I was a hospital infection control officer. It was the early 80s. It was the beginning of the AIDS epidemic. So there are a lot of strange kind of infections. And I did that. I was running a neonatal intensive care unit. And so it was busy. And I did that until 1990 when I switched careers and went into emergency medicine. And about halfway through the 90s, my wife discovered natural health. She's a nurse. And she would start going to lectures, and she said to me, "You'll like this." But some of the stuff she came home with, I wasn't sure about. And then one day she dragged me to a lecture by a very brilliant guy named Jeff Bland. The term functional medicine, which is commonly used today, was coined by him. He was a nutritional biochemist. He worked with Linus Pauling, and he started teaching us about detoxification, about nutrition. And I went for a weekend seminar there, and he was my kind of guy. He was smart. He made it make sense. I started doing marathons in San Diego I got there in 1974, and Frank Shorter had just either won or come in second in the Olympic marathon, and there was like a running boom there. And so I started running marathons, and then in 1982, I saw the Ironman triathlon on television and decided that would be a fun thing to do. And so since then, I've done 43 full Ironman triathlons. Not many people have done that many. Including hundreds of other shorter races. So I was interested in fitness for myself, in performance for myself, in anti-aging for myself. And halfway through the 90s, my wife decided that she was going to get the amalgam silver fillings out of her teeth because they were bad. They're about 50% mercury, and the mercury can off gas when you eat hot food, and she was concerned about it. And so she proceeded to go to a regular dentist, and he took them out unsafely. And she became mercury toxic because if you drill out 14 silver amalgam fillings with a high-speed drill and no protection for the patient, they will get a blitz of aerosolized mercury, and they swallow it and it gets absorbed through the palate, and she got sick. And it was just unclear what was wrong with her. She was also a triathlete. Her diet was really good. She was a mother of 3 children. She was very busy, but she suffered some side effects. And along with learning about nutritional medicine or nutritional biochemistry and detoxification, we pretty much together would start going to seminars to who knows, who's smart, who knows how to do things. And we started traveling around and doing these things, and eventually figured out a way, met a sort of a crazy biochemist who I worked with to formulate a product called Metal Free. And it was a product that you could detox naturally, orally, heavy metals. Now, I went and got certified in chelation therapy and doing IV chelation. And while it can be successful, sometimes it's hard on the body. She eventually got better. And our friends were kind of watching this because I was a full-time emergency room physician, and emergency room work is shift work. So it would be either 7 in the morning till 7 at night, or 7 at night till 7 in the morning, like 14 shifts a month. And I had time off. And after she got better, her symptoms really virtually went away. People started calling me, friends who saw this, and saying, hey, I've got migraine headaches. I've got ulcerative colitis. I got rheumatoid arthritis. I got, whatever. Will you help me? And just for fun, I thought, okay, come over to her nursing business had a free office. And so I said, why don't you meet me there on Thursday afternoon and we can play around. And people started to get better. And it got really busy. In fact, it got so busy that we rented the space next door, which was 3,000 square feet. And I moved in there and I transitioned out of the emergency room because it was very interesting. It was loads of fun. People got better. I was learning every day. And then it just grew. And that was, we started in 1997. Now we're, 25 years into this. We have probably either the first or second largest clinic of this type in the United States. We have 75 employees, 3 medical doctors, 5 nurse practitioners. It's very busy, and we concentrate on people who have chronic health issues. So cancer, heart disease, chronic Lyme, chronic fatigue, long COVID, and a smattering of athletes because, athletes want to see an athlete. And so I've, been able to sort of figure out this whole thing you were talking about, like how do you improve mitochondrial performance, and how do you get people from where they are to where they want to go so that they can do their event, whatever it is. I've worked with NASCAR drivers and Tour de France cyclists and Olympic Nike, the Nike team, Olympic track and field athletes. So a lot of these guys. And it's very interesting because the thing that's wrong with chronically ill people, the same thing's wrong with high performance athletes, only they have just a little bit wrong. And if you tweak the little bit, it might be 100th of a second in a 50-yard freestyle, and that's a world record.
Right.
So the problems are the same. It's just degree. And so the real sick guys have tons of those things, which have to be unloaded. It's what you do too. And the real good guys have just a little bit. But we do the same thing. So that's kind of the background. So I'm still racing Ironman, and I'm full-time in practice. We're busier than ever. And I'm just having as much fun as I've ever had because every day is learning. It's funny, the experience of helping people where our average patient has been to 13 doctors with an unsolved problem. And about 85% of those get better. And one of the most fun things there is to have someone come in and say, you got me better. I'm better. I got my life back. I can work. I can exercise. I can enjoy my family, whatever their button is, because now I feel like it and I feel good. And that to me keeps me going, because it's very rewarding and keeps it.
You are just like me every day. When I get a review or a testimony or just an email saying, I just want you to know that you've turned my life around, I've reversed my Hashimoto's, or whatever it is, it feeds my soul. And I envision myself doing what I'm doing until, just like you. And you could easily retire if you wanted, but you love what you're doing. And you're obviously not going to stop athletically either. I'm trying to do the math. 43 triathlons. How often is that? Because I want to get back into, talking about the breakdown of the body. You're obviously doing the right supplements and food to support for muscle repair and everything. So how often are you doing those triathlons?
Well, triathlenes are sort of categorized by distance. So an Ironman triathlon is a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, followed by a full marathon, which is 26.2 miles. Now there's half Ironmans. There's what are called Olympic distance. So it's a mile swim, a 25 mile ride, a 10K run. There's sprint triathlons where everything is shorter. So I've done, I don't know, probably 300 or so triathlons. The Ironman is a very hard race. You have to train for a long time. And it's very hard, even if you're trained. And they give you 17 hours to finish the race, from the time you jump in the water to you finish the bike to you finish the swim. And so I've done 43 of those. Most people do one. Most people do none. Some people do one. There's a few people who have done a bunch. I have a couple friends who have done over 100. But it's a challenge. If you like hard things, like I like hard patients, and I like to do hard things, that this is one of those things that's hard. Like it tests you, and it builds you mentally, it builds you spiritually to be able to. Is that your little guide up back there?
I am so sorry. It must be that we have like a stranger outside that they're not, and there's two of them. So double the impact. I really
No problem.
apologize.
I have a couple dogs too, so it's I don't mind the noise.
No, but so with that, I know with the working out that I do, and with the, as you're aging, especially for females after the age of 40 with their hormonal changes, it is hard to keep that muscle mass, right? And
Yes.
that's protein, as I mentioned in the beginning, is the building blocks for those tissues, your brain, your eyesight, everything, your bones, your muscles.
Yes.
So I'm sure that is why you came up with Perfect Aminos. But I wanted to talk about something else that I've noticed in the last year because of the spiked protein. And we have to be a little careful with how we say this, but what I've noticed with my clients and even my own family members is that the protein and fat metabolism has been compromised. And a lot of people are having a hard time breaking down protein. So that's why a Perfect Aminos has become a game changer for my family, for my clients, and then also for people that are afraid of eating too much protein. But why don't we start with talking about the importance of protein in the body for all of those reasons?
Sure. So, like you said, the body structure and tissues are built from protein. And if you look at balance studies, like the early balance studies that were done to determine how much protein someone needs, were done on college students over about a month, where they decided that the minimum that you needed was about let's say, 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So if you just translate that into pounds, maybe a half a gram of protein per pound of body weight. Yeah. And now these are healthy college students. They're not growing infants. They're not aged people. They're not sick people. They're healthy people, and they didn't do the study very long. So the data is very, very poor. More recently, it looks like the person needs if you look at our body turnover, because these tissues recycle their proteins, like the inside lining of your gut, every 4 or 5 days, you get a new layer. Your lung turns over at a rate. Your collagen turns over at a rate. Your liver enzymes about every half hour have to be recreated because they get used up. So you need a supply of amino acids to make those proteins every day. And the estimate that I've heard, and this is from Jerry Lehman, he's a professor of nutritional biochemistry at the University of Minnesota, who's done a lot of work in this area, that the body needs about 300 grams of protein per day so that you can return over your tissues the way you're supposed to. Now, if you don't have it, you may not have enough pancreatic enzymes to digest your food. The layer of protein that lines your gut may turn over every 8 or 9 days rather than every 4 or 5 days, which means you're going to have a leaky gut because the membranes get frayed, they get damaged, and now they leak. Mitochondria are made out of proteins. Brain cells, neurons are made out of protein. Neurotransmitters are made out of the same thing. So that if you're short on the 300 grams, now the body can recycle old ones. So you don't have to eat 300 grams. But you got to have available 300 grams if you're going to optimize everything. Now, when you're young, you recycle very well. So you can see some young children eating crappy food that's low protein, and they still seem to grow and appear okay because they recycle very well. Every broken down one gets turned into a new one pretty well. Once you get past 35 or 40, you recycle not so well. And once you get into your 60s, you recycle terrible, which means if you're not, you need 300 and you're not recycling very well. And let's say you're only taking in 40 or 60 grams a day of protein, you're going to be short, like you don't have enough.
Right.
And then if you look at X-ray studies or MRI studies, where you look at the muscle mass of someone at 20, let's say their arm, and then you look at them at 60, they've lost 30% of their lean body mass. As muscle, same thing with bone. You take an X-ray and look at bone density of a 20-year-old, and then you see what they look like when they're 60 years old. They've lost 20, 30% of their lean body mass, which includes bone. It includes organ tissue. So unless you're getting enough protein every day and more as you age, you're on the short end of that cycle and you're losing body mass and you're getting less muscle, less organ tissue, all that stuff. And I think a lot of aging is that. And that if you can keep up with your protein needs, you can do better. So if you took somebody, I intermittent fast. So I don't usually eat anything till about noon. And I have a meal at noon, which is an animal protein meal. So I might have 4 eggs. That's 28 grams of protein. Now, for my activity level, because I'm still training a lot, like I'm swimming, biking, running, stretching, weightlifting every week. And I need about 150 grams of protein a day for me to stay even. If I have 4 eggs for breakfast or for lunch with some other foods, some fruits or some vegetables, that's 28 toward 150. And then if at night I have let's say an 8-ounce chicken breast or a steak or a lamb chop. So a big portion. Animal proteins, every ounce of animal protein is approximately 7 grams of protein that we can use. So an 8-ounce steak would be 56 grams of protein. So 56 grams at dinner and 28 grams at breakfast is 74 grams of protein, right? Is that right? 56, 76, 86, 84 grams of protein. But I need 150. Now, where am I going to get it? So PerfectAmino is an amino acid blend, which just changed, I got into this because I got injured. So I tore a hamstring. And for almost a year, I could not get it to heal. I stretched it and heated it and colded it and chiropractored it and massaged it and injected it. And it wasn't stably healed. And if I would try to run hard, I could feel that if I pushed it, I was going to tear it. And it was driving me nuts. And then I started to mess around with some combinations of amino acids. And I found this blend, which we call PerfectAmino. So it's 8 essential amino acids in a very special ratio. And after 6 weeks on the product, my hamstring was healed. Mm-hmm. And I did Ironman Canada, which is a very hard race. You know, it's a big lake swim with very cold water. And then it's a mountain bike ride where there's 2 passes where you climb 7 miles at a pretty significant grade. It's a very hard race. And then the marathon is very hilly. And I did my best time ever. Wow. And I noticed that when I added the PerfectAmino, I also gained about 12 pounds of lean body mass, and I did not look any different. My waist and my chest measured the same. But my internal organ volume, which I was low on, my bone mass increased because I was actually protein deficient and I wasn't eating enough animal proteins. And it made that up. And so I wrote an article in Triathlete magazine of like, hey guys, look at this. And I got 3,000 people who wrote me back and said, I need that. Okay. So we started to manufacture it. And we started this company called BodyHealth a few years before, where we were making this metal detoxification product. And then we added PerfectAmino. And then we use this as it's remarkable that when you replenish protein in athletes, that they can heal even though the stresses are very high. Like, for example, we worked with the Lance Armstrong Tour de France team. Now, they knew from racing many years that no matter what you did during the race, because they have a chef there, they have IV solutions there, and I didn't know about all the drugs and doping and all that stuff, but they knew that by the end of the 22 days of the tour, no matter what they did, they were all broken down. They all had tendinitis. They were tired. Their oxygen ability to use oxygen was down. And so one of the years we had the 3 big riders do PerfectAmino, 30 grams a day, 10 grams, 10 grams, 10 grams. And at the end of that tour, their performance was better than when they started, and they didn't have tendinitis, and their performance was actually improved by the volume that they were doing during the race. It didn't break down, and they were astounded that this could happen.
Wow.
In fact, the supplement was banned the next year at the tour. So we have a WADA classification now and it's legal, but they were so amazed by what happened. So if I get back to my own thing, is what I realized is I need a high protein diet to keep up with my lifestyle. And if I'm only having 84 grams of protein a day and I need to have 150, I need another source of protein, which isn't full of tons of calories too. So PerfectAmino, turns out, has almost no calories. So if I take 2 scoops of the powder or 10 tablets, that's equal to 30 grams of animal protein.
So 1 gram, because each scoop is 5 grams, is that correct?
Correct.
So 5 grams is the equivalent of eating 30 grams of
15.
animal protein.
Of 15 grams of animal protein.
15 grams.
It's
Okay.
a 3-to-1.
Gotcha.
There's
And
about 1 calorie in 5 grams of this, whereas 15 grams of protein probably has a couple hundred calories. So people who are calorie conscious, who worry about their weight, this is a real easy way to add protein without adding calories.
and it's vegan. I know a lot of
It's
people.
vegan. Yeah, it's vegan. There's no animal involvement at all, and it's pure. We don't have a kosher certification, but it's kosher also.
You mentioned that you intermittent fast, which most of my clients do. And so everyone is always asking, is this going to break a fast? Is that going to break a fast? How does this react in the body? Does it break a fast?
It doesn't break a fast. We have measured levels of insulin after taking PerfectAmino and measure levels of glucose after taking PerfectAmino, and they don't change. So there isn't a calorie load here. So you really aren't giving someone a calorie. You're giving them a substance that the body can utilize to make protein. The other thing is, if you think of this, after let's say you have supper at 6 o'clock at night and you have breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning, not noon. So you've had a 14-hour fast. Now, during the fast, the body does repair. It needs nutrients. And you have been in a breakdown state that whole time. Like your body is utilizing proteins in your muscles and your other tissues to rebuild other tissues. And until you get a protein hit in, for example, the muscles or the brain, you don't turn that breakdown into build. So 10 grams of PerfectAmino there is leucine as part of it. And you talked about HMB, which is a leucine derivative, which turns on, it turns on muscle building. And so when I get up in the morning, the first thing that I do is I take 2 scoops of PerfectAmino and I put it in a shaker cup and I drink it down. And that sets me up as now I am anabolic, which means I am building my everything's on. It's like we're going to recuperate from the night where we were really in a fast. And so what I find is so I've got to make up the difference between 84 and 150 is, let's just say it's 60 grams of protein. If I take 2 scoops of PerfectAmino twice a day, I'm almost there. And then we make some bars that have a little PerfectAmino. We make some electrolytes that have some PerfectAmino. And by the end of the day, I'm at 160. And I had a couple of BodyHealth bars which have PerfectAmino in it. I've had 2 scoops twice of PerfectAmino. And so I'm able to, like day to day, I have recuperated. I'm not running a backlog of things that have to be repaired or things that have to be replaced because my protein intake is enough. And if you just I've done surveys on huge groups of people. Okay, what do you have for breakfast? What do you have for lunch? What do you have for dinner? Let's calculate how much protein you have in a day. And this is worse in women than it is in men, by and large. But, if you figure what you need is 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. So if you weigh 140, you need 140 grams of protein a day to keep up. And we're hoping that your body will recycle things so that you can make up the 300. And so the protein, we don't have a calorie need every day. We have a grams of protein need every day. And if you're dieting and you're cutting protein, you're hurting yourself.
1,000%.
The average person is cutting calories. Every 4 pounds you lose, it's a pound of lean body mass. And that is devilishly hard to get back, especially if you're, out of your 20s. Like you start losing that lean body mass, to get that back is really hard. So
I speak of that a lot, David, because I just personally, I have always been into working out and strength training. I don't do chronic cardio. I lift heavy weights, and women are afraid of lifting heavy weights and they're afraid of eating too much protein. They think they're going to gain weight, and it's the exact opposite. and all of the nutrients are in the animal protein, and then you're supplementing with perfect aminos, it's just a game changer. I've had clients that have recovered from surgery using the perfect aminos and some of the other protocols that I have, and have expedited that surgery recovery. David, you mentioned that in the morning you do 2 scoops, you down it real quick, and then you go on with your day. Is there a reason you can't just drink it slowly, pre-workout, during workout, post-workout? Is there a reason that you need to down it quickly in a bolus?
No.
Okay.
No.
I wanted to be clear on that. I didn't know if that was triggering a growth hormone response or some sort of response, or if it's okay to kind of drink. Personally, I make my drink. I then go do my workout, and it's a big drink because I like to hydrate, and it lasts for a couple hours. But I do 2 scoops.
Gotcha.
So, okay, great. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the effect and the need of amino acids for hormones, thyroid disease, hypothyroidism, menopause. I know you've talked about your wife with menopause and how she sees a difference with the perfect aminos. Why are amino acids so important for our hormones, and especially for women getting into the menopausal age?
Okay, some of the hormones are made out of amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. So if you look at insulin, growth hormone, these are hormones that are made out of proteins. So I've had tons of people who are hypothyroid. Okay, their thyroid level of hormone in their body is too low. And when I measure their blood levels of amino acids, and the amino acid that gets made into thyroid hormone is called tyrosine, that they're very, very low in tyrosine. Their blood levels of tyrosine are extremely low. Now, if the body has to take a tyrosine and then add iodine, and sometimes people are low in iodine too, and they could be missing either one, you can't make thyroid hormone.
Right.
Now, the enzyme that matches the iodine and the tyrosine is a protein enzyme. It's made out of protein. So if that enzyme isn't present in enough amount, you can't make it. So sometimes we see people with very low tyrosine. The parent amino acid for tyrosine is called phenylalanine. And phenylalanine is one of the 8 essential amino acids. It is in Perfect Amino. We give people Perfect Amino, and their tyrosine goes up, and then their thyroid hormone comes into normal because now they have enough of this stuff so that they can make what they need. Now, if you multiply that idea by millions and millions and millions, because all of the processes that go on in the body all require this stuff. They require enzymes, and they require basic materials to make this stuff. So emotionally, if you're looking at serotonin or melatonin, these are made out of amino acids. And if you don't have tryptophan, you can't, you might be depressed. You might be anxious. You can't sleep. You maybe are, you can't remember. We did a study at a nursing home. It was a nursing home for people with memory loss in Hawaii. And the guy bought Perfect Amino so that he could give it to everybody every day. And they had them taking 10 tablets in the morning and 10 tablets at noon. And within about 6 months, 1/3 of his guys who had memory loss, who were there because they couldn't remember well enough to do their own daily functions of life, they went home. Wow. Because they were able to use the amino acids to make neurotransmitters, to regenerate nerve cells, and to improve. Mm-hmm. So this is the critical thing for everybody. Fats are easy and calories are easy. You can have all sources of carbohydrates and all kinds of sources of course, good fats. And you need all of it. But the thing that most people are lacking are amino acids. They really aren't getting enough. And like you said, there's a lot of people who are phobic about protein. And by golly, people who are on low protein diets, vegans are the worst. Within a couple years, you measure their serum levels of amino acids and they're all low, and they're tired and they lose their muscle mass. And for some people, it's a religious thing, and fine, I respect that. But then you should take PerfectAmino, like lots, because you're going to lose, you need a supply of iron and you need a supply of B12. And there's some certain things that you need omega-3 fats that a lot of people who aren't eating animal proteins get to be low in, and you need protein. So it's a fix. It's a fix that for almost everybody. I saw somebody the other day and she was saying, I'm so angry at you. I saw her in the hall in my office. And she said, I'm so angry at you because I always had a 6-week gap in hair appointments. And now at 4 weeks, I need to go back into the beautician and get my hair done because my hair's growing too fast. And she says, look at my nails. I never could grow nails. Well, these are proteins. Yeah. And in her body, she was deficient. She wasn't getting enough. And so she added PerfectAmino, and then all these things turn on.
Well, David, I think you got everyone's attention when you mentioned hair, because from COVID and the spike protein over the last couple of years, everybody is complaining about hair loss. Even women who have had really thick hair, all of a sudden they're losing their hair. And you're right, you need those amino acids. And I believe, this is my own hypothesis, is that the spike protein has created an issue with the ability to break down proteins into amino acids, leading to one thing, including the hair loss, where that PerfectAminos is giving you the amino acids for the building blocks for the hair and the skin and the nails. We have just a couple minutes, and I want you just to touch on this, and I've got to have you back on because this is a big part of why I wanted to talk to you, is why the protein powders, whey protein, pea protein, hemp protein could actually be making you fat and not helping build that strong lean muscle.
Well, one of the things on this, and so I wrote a book on this. It's called The Search for the Perfect Protein, and you could get it if you go to our website, which is bodyhealth.com. You could download the PDF if you want it, or if you go to Amazon, you could buy it. It's an Amazon bestseller. It explains this, but in a nutshell, one protein does not equal in value meaning how well your body can use it, to another one. So there's a number value. We call it amino acid utilization. Like if you eat a hemp protein, what percentage of it can your body actually use of that protein to make its own protein? And it's very low. It's probably like 6 or 7%. Most of it is just calories. If you look at whey protein, only about 16% of it can our body actually utilize. The balance of the amino acids in there isn't set up for us. It's set up for baby cows. So it doesn't mean it's bad, but it's a lot of calories. If you look at meat and fish, they're about 33% of the amino acids are utilizable, and eggs are 48%. So your best protein food is whole eggs, yolk plus white. Egg whites are by themselves deficient in one of the essential amino acids called methionine, and the eggs without the yolk equal whey protein, equal dairy. Now, PerfectAmino on this scale, and this was verified in laboratory tests, is worth 99 out of 100. Like virtually 99% of the PerfectAmino that you take in your body will utilize to make protein. There's virtually no calories. Like there's nothing to burn, because it takes it and says, okay, you're going into bone, and you're going into heart, and you're going into neurotransmitters, and you're going into lung tissue, and you're going into digestive enzymes. And so the body can take this with really no, it doesn't have to work at it and go like and fill up all these spaces. That's how I gained 12 pounds of lean body mass without doing anything else, because the body can utilize it right away.
And I want to mention, you mentioned 12 pounds that you've gained. this is where the scale needs to be thrown away, because the scale is you gaining weight may have thought, oh, well, maybe I'm putting on the wrong kind of weight, but getting a body scan, something that's going to measure your fat, your muscle, your bone density, all of that's going to be the real scale. And it's how your clothes fit in the composition of your body, because that muscle weighs so much more than fat, and the scale is not telling you the whole story. Right? So
yeah, absolutely.
I am a huge advocate for people adding perfect aminos into their diet. I have my kids on it. My kids are athletes, extreme athletes, and they need the extra support. Same with my husband, with all of the hormonal changes men go through, and of course me in perimenopause, in that area where it is harder to keep that muscle mass on. So I really appreciate you coming on, and I love your articles. I love what you're doing and all the work, and I love your energy. And you are proof that we can live quality life and live forever. I mean, you have a lot of years ahead of you, and it's really inspiring. So I really appreciate you coming on. And everyone, you can find Perfect Aminos on my website, acceleratedhealthproducts.com. You can get there from sarabantahealth.com. I love it. I take it in the morning. I also do a drink at night for that extra protein. And it's really important. The protein is the building blocks for everything in your body. So thanks again for joining me, David. And thank you everyone else for joining me today. If I can help you with your health issues, you can contact me directly through the website, sarabantahealth.com. I'm happy to put together a protocol for you. Remember to join the free group coaching on Telegram with the link below. I teach you on a daily basis with tips and tools to enhance your health. And you will be a part of a like-minded group to support you on your journey, which is very rare these days, in addition to truly taking control of your health. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram under Accelerated Health Products, and across over 100 channels under Accelerated Health Radio and TV, including YouTube, Stitcher, Pandora, iTunes, or whatever podcast platform you subscribe to. If you like what you heard today, please hit the subscribe button and share with a few of your friends who may need my help. And you can join me every Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific and Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific live. And you can also use the coupon WELCOME10 for 10% off site-wide. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great week. Thanks, David.
Thanks. Bye.